But when you start talking about stuff like that, as far as what it takes to be a top level UFC fighter, even on their roster, the amount of toughness, the way those guys train every single day, and the fights they put themselves through, people always say, hey, man, what's tougher, pro wrestling or MMA? Because when you tell our schedule to some of those MMA guys who actually get what we do, they're like, man, what you guys do is crazy. I don't know if I could do that. So to me, it's a different level of toughness. Like the boys are like cockroaches. We're in a different town every single night. We're at a different gym. We're on the road. We're eating at different restaurants. Just as far as toughness or a hard way of life, which one do you figure is a tougher?
That's a tough question, man. That's a really tough question. What's tougher? MMA, professional wrestling. In professional wrestling, we definitely got to be physically tough. That's something that you can't be a professional wrestler without being tough. That just comes along with the territory, putting your body through something that's not meant for the human body to actually go through on a regular basis anyway. Sometimes, 275 days plus, doing it. That's just not something the human body, is supposed to do. Baseball, they play 80 games, 120 games a year, you know what I mean? They put these guys, we put our bodies through a lot. But I think with professional wrestling, our mental, stress, comes into play more than anything. Having to, fly to Germany, and get off the plane and go straight to the arena and perform, and then go straight from the arena sometimes to go back to the plane to get on the land, in another country, and go to the hotel for a couple hours, then go to the arena. You got a double shot that day. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? The mental aspect comes into play. How far can you push yourself? You know what I mean? How long can you stay focused? And for how many years? For me, it's been 20, almost 28 now. So that's the difference between what we do in MMA. Now, going out and getting kicked in the face with a shin, getting elbowed and sliced open, you know what I mean? Getting, my brains were getting choked out for a few seconds where there's no oxygen going to my brain. There's a toll, and there's something to be said about guys that that's willing to put themselves through that. But as far as toughness goes, it's just a difference.
I think it is a difference too, but I also think, man, with the wrestling business or pro wrestling, as you and I know it, man, I always tell people you're kind of living three lives in one body. On one hand, you are a professional athlete because of the prep you do and what you're doing in the ring at a high level. Then on top of that, you can be a rock star. And when you go places, a lot of people will have things that you might want, they're going to want to hang out with you. So then you turn into the rock star aspect along with the professional athlete. And then on top of that, you're a truck driver because you're going to fly some places, but then you're going to get in the car and you're going to hump it down the road. Yeah. So, it truly is that. And I was kind of known, way back in the day, I ran with the crowd that I ran with. But when I finally started making some money, I started traveling by myself. But I was always with the drinking crowd. And, man, when I say I was with the drinking crowd, I was the drinking crowd. And I always had my whiskey, whether it's whiskey, beer, stuff like that. So to me, to be on time every time, work hurt, live that lifestyle, be the truck driver, I feel pretty good after I did it all. But if I could go back and do it again, I would have taken a lot better care of myself, and I would have slowed the partying down. Yeah. And that being said, I don't think that a UFC fighter could live the lifestyle that I was living or Ric Flair was living, a whole different level because he's the greatest in my opinion, but doing the same kind of outlandish things, it takes a hell of a goddamn toll on your body, brother.
Well, it does, you know what I mean? But you look at these UFC fighters too, that the lifespan of their careers are, at the top level is about 3 years, man. That's it. These guys burnt out after 3 years. I look at a lot of these UFC fighters now, man, and they look like old men. And they were, Octagon Warriors 10 years ago, and you see them now, you go, wow, Gabriel Gonzaga, what happened to him? Just because of, I can only imagine what those guys feel like in the morning, not just from the fight, not just the fighting portion of it, but the training. Going in there and beating that dummy up all day, going in there running drills and whatnot, putting your body through stuff. I look at guys, like Ronnie Coleman right now. Great, the greatest, one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, if not the greatest. And the guy, he's in a wheelchair now because the way he pushed his body, going out there lifting, squatting, 800 pounds, repping, behind the neck press 500 pounds, stressing his body out so much. You know what I mean? So that stress and toll that these UFC fighters put on themselves to go out there and fight for that one night, it's a guy by the name of Roger Huerta. He was on the cover of ESPN magazine for the UFC back in the day. You probably don't even remember him now, but Roger Huerta, he's right now, he's still fighting, but his fight level and skills dropped off like that because there's no way that you can continue to push your body to go out and stay up to fight every single time, to fight the number one contender.